Welcome to scifactsinfo. Today we're diving deep into the incredible world of the ocean. Whether you're a total land lover or love the waves, or you fancy yourself part mermaid, the ocean surrounds us. It's mysterious, astonishing, and to be honest, we probably owe it a little more respect. So, get comfortable. Take a deep breath of that imaginary salty sea air, and let's jump right in with 100 fascinating facts about the ocean. What exactly is an ocean? It's not just a lot of water. It's one of the 5 giant salty water basins that wrap around the planet, holding about 97% of all water on Earth. That's not just big, that's mind-blowingly massive. And all that water? It's part of the hydrosphere, which sounds like sci-fi but just means every drop of water on, under, and floating above Earth. Oceans shape weather, store heat, drive currents, and cover over 70% of our planet's surface. If Earth had a pulse, the oceans would be its heartbeat. Ocean versus sea. What's the difference? It's not just size, it's geography and attitude. Think size settles this? Think again. Oceans are massive, open bodies of salt water covering about 71% of Earth's surface, stretching thousands of miles. Seas, on the other hand, are like the ocean's cozy little cousins, smaller, usually enclosed or partially enclosed by land, creating more of a sheltered vibe. For example, the Mediterranean Sea spans around 970,000 square miles, 2.5 million square kilometers, hugged tightly by Europe, Africa, and Asia, while the Pacific Ocean sprawls across a staggering 63 million square miles, 165 million square kilometers. So, it's geography and attitude, not just size, that sets them apart. Seas tend to be shallower and saltier, thanks to limited water exchange, which impacts marine life and climate differently than the vast, deep oceans. Where does the word ocean come from? Ever wonder where the word ocean comes from? It's not just some random label for all that blue. The name actually traces back to Oceanus, a titan in Greek mythology. He wasn't just any god, he was imagined as a colossal river god, so massive that he supposedly flowed in a loop around the entire Earth. The ancient Greeks believed the world was flat and surrounded by water, so to them, Oceanus was the edge of existence. It's poetic, dramatic, and completely wrong. But hey, it's stuck. So every time you say ocean, you're actually name-dropping a mythological water giant. How much of Earth's water is in the oceans? You'd think with all that blue on the map, Earth would be overflowing with drinkable water. But here's the truth bomb. 97% of our planet's water is salt water, locked up in oceans. Not exactly something you can sip. Most of the rest, frozen solid in glaciers and ice caps. Now get this, every river, every lake, every stream you've ever seen. All of that combined is just 0.3% of Earth's water. That's it. The water we actually depend on is just a sliver of a sliver. Makes you think twice about wasting a glass, doesn't it? Why is the ocean so salty? Imagine this. 1 liter of seawater packs about 35 grams of salt. That's like a small handful. Now scale that up to a cubic foot and you're looking at over 2 pounds, around 1 kilogram, of salt just chilling in that water. How does it get so salty? Rivers act like mineral couriers, washing dissolved salts and minerals from rocks into the ocean. Then the sun steps in, evaporating water but leaving the salt behind. Over millions of years, this salty buildup turned our oceans into the giant briny baths we know today. So every splash you take is basically a salty souvenir from rocks and sunshine. Enough salt to build a cube. If you could scoop up all the salt dissolved in Earth's oceans, you'd end up with a cube of salt of 280 kilometers, that's 174 miles, long, wide, and tall. That's bigger than Mount Everest and almost the size of Texas, just made of salt. It's enough to coat the entire planet in a layer of salt 500 feet, 152 meters, thick. That ocean water may look clean, but it's hiding a mountain-sized salt stash under the surface. You might think Earth is all mountains, forests, and deserts. But guess what? Over 70% of our planet is absolutely soaked. That's right. About 361 million square kilometers, or 139 million square miles, of Earth's surface is ocean. That's more water than land by a long shot. And we've barely scratched the surface. Most of the deep ocean is still unexplored. If Earth had a passport, it wouldn't say land dweller. It would say ocean planet. In fact, from space, it looks more like a giant blue marble floating in darkness. So yeah, we live on a water world. We're just renting space on the dry parts. Oceans are holding more than you think. Let's talk numbers. Ocean numbers. Earth's oceans hold 1.35 billion cubic kilometers of water. Can't picture that? Imagine a giant water cube over 1,000 kilometers wide, bigger than most countries. That's 97% of all Earth's water, just swirling around out there. If we dumped it all on land, we'd be swimming over 2.7 kilometers deep. And the wildest part? We've explored less than 20% of it. The ocean is massive and still mostly a mystery. The oceans feel massive, but Earth barely notices. Even though oceans feel endless, they're actually just a tiny part of Earth by mass. The oceans cover over 70% of Earth's surface, so they feel gigantic. But here's the twist. They barely add anything to Earth's mass. If you drained all the oceans and stacked the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa, on top of the dried seabed, you'd only increase Earth's radius by about 10 centimeters. That's it. Basically, all that deep, dark water, just a thin film wrapped around a massive rock. Earth is... But mass isn't everything. The ocean may look calm on the surface, but don't be fooled. Just the top 10 meters of seawater, that's about 33 feet, weighs as much as the entire atmosphere wrapped around Earth. That's right, a thin slice of ocean holds the same mass as all the air above us, from sea level to the edge of space. Water is over 800 times denser than air, so even a shallow layer packs a punch. It's like comparing a brick to a balloon. Volume might be the same, but mass, not even close. The top 10 feet, or just 3 meters, of ocean water stores as much heat as the entire atmosphere above it. Let that sink in. Earth's oceans are massive heat batteries, quietly absorbing solar energy and regulating our climate like a global thermostat. That's why a small rise in ocean temperature can supercharge hurricanes, shift weather patterns, and even mess with entire ecosystems. It's not just water, it's a heat vault with the power to rewrite the planet's script. Surface holds a lot. The ocean's skin versus the sky above. The very first inch, just 2.5 centimeters, of the ocean holds as much water as the entire Earth's atmosphere holds in vapor. That's right, the ocean's surface layer outweighs the sky. Why? Because liquid water is over 800 times denser than air. So next time you're at the beach, remember, that shallow ripple by your toes holds more water than all the clouds above your head. Let that sink in. Literally. Waves shape the surface. The ocean doesn't just sit there flat. Winds whip up everything from tiny ripples to monster waves. These waves aren't just pretty patterns, they're the ocean's restless dance party. Wind sweeps over the surface, stirring up everything from tiny tickles to colossal walls of water towering over 30 meters, 100 feet, high. So next time you see the sea all calm and glassy, don't be fooled. Below that mirror, the ocean's always ready to roar. 5 oceans, isn't it? Think the Earth just has a couple of oceans? Think again. Earth's watery world is usually split into 5 oceans. The Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Southern Oceans. Together, they're sometimes called the World Ocean. They cover about 71% of our planet's surface. Yeah, that's over 139 million square miles, 360 million square kilometers of salt water. Scientists even call them the World Ocean, because Well, they're all connected, like one giant global swimming pool. Earth's oceans? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some say there are 3, others 4, and some even count 5. The confusion comes from the Arctic and Southern Oceans. They sometimes get merged into their bigger neighbors. So, the lineup isn't set in stone. Whether you think of the Southern Ocean as a separate entity circling Antarctica or just part of the Atlantic or Pacific, it changes the count. It's a reminder that even the planet's biggest bodies of water aren't immune to a little debate. We haven't even explored most of the ocean. We've barely scratched the surface of the ocean, literally. Humans have explored less than 5% of it. That's right, over 95% of the massive underwater world, covering about 139 million square miles, 360 million square kilometers. Remains a mystery. Why? Because exploring underwater means dealing with crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and no breathable air. It's like trying to explore an alien planet with no oxygen tanks. So the ocean is basically Earth's last great frontier, hiding secrets we haven't even imagined yet. Mapping from afar. Thanks to satellites, nearly 100% of the sea floor is mapped. Satellites have basically mapped almost every inch of the ocean floor, but don't get too excited yet. That coverage is at a super blurry 5-kilometer resolution. That's about 3 miles. So think of it like looking at the ocean floor with a foggy pair of binoculars. The crazy part? Only 0.05%, yes, 0.05%, has been mapped in sharp detail. The kind of detail that could spot a shipwreck or a giant squid hiding in the trenches. So, despite all our tech, the ocean floor remains one of Earth's last giant mysteries. Where did oceans come from? Well, scientists aren't 100% sure, but here's what we know. Oceans showed up about 4.6 billion years ago, pretty much right after Earth itself formed. That's ancient, long before life even had a chance to get started. The main idea is that water arrived either from volcanic outgassing, where steam and gases from inside Earth cooled and condensed, or from icy comets and asteroids crashing down, delivering huge amounts of water. Either way, those early oceans covered the planet and set the stage for everything that followed. To put it in perspective, that's like Earth's first great splash party, creating vast bodies of water stretching thousands of miles, shaping the world we know today. Ocean life is ancient, like seriously ancient. The very first ocean creatures showed up about 3 billion years ago. To put that in perspective, that's way before anything dared to crawl onto land. While land animals have been around for roughly 400 million years, ocean life has already been thriving for billions of years. Basically, the ocean was the original life party, hosting single-celled organisms long before dinosaurs or humans were even a thought. That's deep history, both literally and figuratively. Great white sharks have a secret gathering spot. Every year, great white sharks abandon their usual hunting territories and converge on a mysterious spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, called the White Shark Cafe. Scientists puzzled over this behavior for years. Why leave the rich coastal waters for what seemed like empty ocean? The secret's finally out. It's a gourmet hotspot packed with elephant seals and giant squid, a rare feast far from shore. Think of it like spring break for sharks, but instead of beach parties, it's a bloody buffet that fuels these apex predators for their long migrations. This epic meetup spot is roughly 1,000 miles, 1,600 kilometers off the coast of California. Proof that even sharks have favorite vacation destinations. A microbial world. Did you know that just 1 milliliter of ocean water is a bustling metropolis for microbes? We're talking over 1 million bacteria and a staggering 10 million viruses packed into that tiny drop. Don't panic. Almost all of these microscopic guests are harmless. But here's a friendly tip. Maybe skip drinking seawater straight from the ocean. Aside from the salt, you're basically downing a microscopic zoo. You probably learned water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Well, not if it's salty. Salt water plays by different rules. It doesn't freeze until it hits about -2 degrees Celsius, or 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why even near the Arctic or Antarctic, you'll still find liquid seawater sloshing around under floating ice. Salt lowers the freezing point by messing with water's molecular bonding, so the colder it gets, the harder it is for those molecules to lock into solid ice. It's nature's antifreeze in action. The ocean is icy too. At any moment, like right now, about 12% of the ocean is iced over. Yep, frozen solid. That's mostly near the Arctic and Antarctic, where sea ice spreads like a frosty lid across the waves. Altogether, this icy crust covers about 7% of Earth's surface, roughly 13 million square miles or 34 million square kilometers. That's more than twice the size of the entire United States. And it's not just floating there looking pretty. Sea ice plays a huge role in reflecting sunlight, regulating global temperatures, and keeping polar climates stable. It's basically Earth's natural air conditioner. What would happen if all the ice melted? If Earth hit the defrost button, every bit of ice on the planet suddenly melted. Glaciers, ice sheets, all of it. Sea levels would surge by 216 feet, or about 66 meters. Say goodbye to New York, London, Tokyo, and every low-lying coast you've ever Instagrammed. That means over 5 million cubic miles of water flooding the planet's edges. Florida? Underwater? Bangladesh? Gone. The Earth would look totally redrawn. And no, this wouldn't happen overnight. It'd take centuries. But if we keep heating things up, we're speeding up the melt. The future shoreline? A whole new map. How deep is the ocean? The average ocean depth is about 4 kilometers, or roughly 2.5 miles. That's deeper than most submarines ever go and tall enough to stack 5 Empire State Buildings on top of each other, with room to spare. It's also about the same length as the entire Hollywood Walk of Fame. The ocean has a bottom, and then it has this. The Challenger Deep, buried in the Mariana Trench, plunges down about 10,984 meters, or 36,037 feet. That's so deep you could drop Mount Everest, all 8,849 meters, or 29,032 feet of it, straight in, and still have over 2,100 meters, or 7,000 feet of water above the peak. It's Earth's ultimate pressure cooker, dark, freezing, crushing, and we've explored more of Mars than this place. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the ocean squeezes you with over 8 tons per square inch. That's like stacking 50 jumbo jets on your chest. We're talking over 1,100 kilograms per square centimeter, or 16,000 pounds per square inch. Down there, the pressure is over 1,000 times what you feel at sea level. No human could survive it unaided. Your body would collapse in seconds. Even submarines need specially reinforced titanium hulls just to not implode. It's not just deep, it's a liquid death trap. Everest, not even the tallest mountain. Everyone thinks Mount Everest is the king of all mountains. And sure, it is the highest point above sea level, 8,848 meters, or 29,029 feet. But if we're talking true height, base to summit, the real heavyweight is Mauna Kea in Hawaii. This sleeping volcano rises a staggering 10,210 meters, that's over 33,500 feet, from its ocean floor base. Only about 4,200 meters, 13,800 feet, peak above the waves. But underwater? It's a giant. So technically, Mauna Kea is taller than Everest. You just have to be willing to dive for it. The ocean isn't just sitting there, it's on a 1,000-year road trip. Literally. Deep below the surface, seawater flows in a massive loop called thermohaline circulation, a global conveyor belt powered by differences in temperature and salt. Warm water from the tropics heads poleward, cools, sinks, and begins a slow crawl back around the planet. Some of that water takes over 1,000 years to complete the trip. That's a 25,000-mile, 40,000-kilometer journey, enough to circle Earth and then some. The ocean's basically a time machine, moving ancient water from one end of the world to the other. Earth is unique. As far as we know, Earth is one of a kind. As far as we've explored, it's the only spot in the entire universe with oceans of actual liquid water. Sure, Saturn's moon Titan has seas, but don't get excited. It's all liquid methane down there, not water. That means no beach days or swimming, just alien lakes of super cold, flammable stuff. So, Earth isn't just special. It's practically the cosmic VIP lounge where water makes life happen. Life hides in the deep. We've officially discovered around 230,000 marine species. Pretty impressive, right? Not even close. The ocean is Earth's final mystery, and we've only explored about 5 to 10% of it. Some scientists estimate there could be over 2 million species hiding beneath the waves. That's nearly 10 times what we know. From glow-in-the-dark jellyfish to creatures that survive in boiling volcanic vents miles deep, life in the ocean thrives where we thought nothing could live. It's an alien world right here on Earth, and we've barely scratched the surface. The ocean is ridiculously crowded. Imagine squeezing 900 species into a space the size of half a tennis court. That's exactly what scientists found in a tiny patch of the deep sea. And get this, over half of those creatures were completely new to science. That's like stumbling on an alien city just chilling under the waves. From microscopic worms to bizarre glowing critters, the ocean isn't just full of life, it's exploding with it. And we've barely scratched the surface. Beneath every ripple could be a whole ecosystem waiting to be discovered. Most life isn't on land, it's underwater. Think Earth is all about trees, deserts, and cities? Think again. Somewhere between 50 to 80% of all life on this planet is actually underwater. That's right, the ocean isn't just big, it's packed. From microscopic plankton to 100-foot 30-meter blue whales, the real party is happening beneath the surface. And here we are, stomping around on dry land like we own the place, while coral reefs host more species than all the rainforests combined. We're basically living on the roof of Earth's biosphere. The biggest animal ever. The blue whale isn't just the biggest animal alive today, it's the biggest ever. Bigger than any dinosaur, land or sea. One of these giants can stretch up to 100 feet long, 30 meters, and weigh 200 tons, 181,000 kilograms. That's like stacking 15 school buses end to end, and then making them swim. Its heart? The size of a small car weighing 400 pounds, 180 kilograms. And blue whale babies? They pack on about 200 pounds, 90 kilograms, every single day. That's like a newborn guzzling down 50 gallons, 190 liters, of milk daily. The ocean's heavyweight champ, and it's not even close. The longest fish. Meet the oarfish. That's actually a fish, the longest known bony fish. The oarfish looks like a sea serpent straight out of myth. It's the longest bony fish on Earth, growing over 33 feet long. That's more than 10 meters of silvery ribbon-like body slithering through the deep. They live thousands of feet below the surface, so spotting one near shore usually means it's sick, dying, or disoriented. Some cultures even see them as omens of earthquakes. Spooky? Definitely. But it's just a giant deep-sea noodle with a dorsal fin that runs its entire body. Who's the real torpedo of the sea? Some say the sailfish, slicing through water at 68 miles per hour, or about 110 kilometers per hour, accelerating like a sports car, going 100 meters in under 5 seconds. Then there's the black marlin, clocked at a blistering 80 miles per hour, or 129 kilometers per hour, with a 6-foot 1.8 meter spear for a face. Scientists still argue about the crown, but either way, if you fall overboard near one, just know, you're getting smoked. The most efficient swimmer. The ocean's lazy genius, jellyfish. They don't have brains, bones, or blood, but jellyfish are elite athletes. These squishy floaters are the most energy-efficient swimmers in the entire ocean. While other animals burn through oxygen like a bonfire, jellyfish use 40% less. That's less fuel, more distance. No fins, no hustle, just a smooth pulse and drift. Some species can cruise up to 5 miles per hour, 8 kilometers per hour, using nothing but rhythmic contractions. It's like nature built them for long-haul survival on power-saving mode. No muscles? No problem. Jellyfish prove that slow and steady doesn't just win the race, it owns it. Down in the pitch-black ocean, over 13,000 feet, 4,000 meters deep, some creatures make their own light. It's called bioluminescence. Think of living glow sticks. They flash to lure prey, flirt with mates, or vanish into darkness using light as camouflage. Lanternfish, vampire squid, and even some sharks glow like underwater ghosts. No sunlight ever reaches them, so they became the light. Evolution didn't give them eyes for beauty, it gave them flashlights for survival. Deepest living fish. Imagine swimming where not even sunlight dares to go. Scientists discovered the deepest living fish ever recorded, nicknamed the ghost fish, lurking at over 8,000 meters deep. That's 26,250 feet below the surface. Down there, the pressure is over 800 times what we feel at sea level. No light, no warmth, just an eerie black void. But this little creature, part of the snailfish family, thrives in total darkness, with a jelly-like body built to survive the ocean's most brutal pressure zone. It doesn't just survive, it owns the abyss. Supersized seaweed. Giant kelp isn't just your average seaweed, it's a speed demon underwater, growing up to 2 feet, about 60 centimeters, every single day. That's like watching a skyscraper sprout in the ocean. These underwater giants can shoot up to 30 meters, nearly 100 feet, tall, forming vast underwater forests that rival any land jungle in size and complexity. Imagine a forest you can't walk through, but swim through instead. It's like nature's own superhighway for marine life. Sunlight doesn't go that deep. Sunlight doesn't dive deep. It barely scratches the ocean's surface before fading into darkness. Sure, a few stubborn rays can reach down to about 1,000 meters, around 3,280 feet. But by the time you hit 200 meters, 656 feet, it's already too dim for photosynthesis. That's the twilight zone. And deeper than that? Total blackout. No plants, no light, just cold, crushing black. It's why deep-sea creatures either glow, go blind, or grow terrifying teeth. What's the largest ocean? The largest ocean is the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean isn't just big, it's monstrous, so big that it could swallow continents. It covers around 165 million square kilometers or 64 million square miles. That's nearly a third of Earth's entire surface. To put that in perspective, if you crammed every continent on Earth, Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas, Australia, all of it, into the Pacific, they'd still float around with room to spare. It's not just an ocean, it's a planet-sized puddle. The Pacific Ocean is quietly losing ground, literally. Thanks to the slow but relentless shuffle of tectonic plates, the Americas are inching closer to Asia. This means the vast Pacific is shrinking by roughly 1 square kilometer every 2 years. That's about 0.4 square miles disappearing as the continents creep together. Meanwhile, on the flip side, the Atlantic Ocean is getting wider, expanding like a slowly stretching rubber band. It's a geological tug-of-war playing out over millions of years, reshaping our planet's surface bit by bit, even if we barely notice. What does the name Pacific mean? Did you know the name Pacific actually means peaceful? Yep, it was explorer Ferdinand Magellan who first called it Mar Pacifico, Portuguese for peaceful sea. He sailed into what looked like calm waters, so the name stuck. But don't be fooled, this ocean isn't always a tranquil paradise. It's home to some of the fiercest storms on Earth, monstrous tsunamis, and volcanic activity. So much for peaceful, right? The ocean's hidden giant. Right off California's coast lies the Monterey Bay Submarine Canyon, and guess what? It's actually deeper than Arizona's famous Grand Canyon. We're talking about an underwater chasm that dives down over 1.6 miles, about 2.6 kilometers, beneath the waves. Yet, because it's lurking beneath the ocean's surface, it never gets the fame it deserves. Meanwhile, the Grand Canyon on land hogs all the attention, even though this submerged giant is a beast in its own right. It's like the ocean's best-kept secret canyon showdown, and Monterey's winning under the waves. The longest mountain range is underwater. The longest mountain range on Earth isn't towering above us, it's hiding under the ocean. Meet the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a massive underwater chain that stretches over 56,000 kilometers, about 35,000 miles. That's longer than the Rockies, Andes, and Himalayas combined. Imagine a mountain marathon underwater, running down the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, shaping our planet's crust as tectonic plates slowly pull apart. It's Earth's secret spine, silent, submerged, and seriously colossal. We explored the ocean after the moon. We explored the ocean's deep, dark secrets after we set foot on the moon. Yeah, humans landed on the moon in 1969, but it wasn't until 1973 that we finally sent a submersible down to the mysterious Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So, while we were busy planting flags on another world, some of Earth's biggest mysteries were still locked away beneath miles of crushing water. Talk about exploring backwards. How does the Gulf Stream move more water than all the rivers on Earth? The Gulf Stream is like nature's ultimate water highway along the U.S. East Coast, pumping an astonishing 4 billion cubic feet, about 113 billion liters, of water every single second. That's nearly 300 times the flow of the Amazon River, which is the world's biggest river by volume. To put it bluntly, this current moves more water than all the rivers on the planet combined. It's a colossal force driving weather, climate, and even marine life along the Atlantic. Imagine a giant conveyor belt of warm water powering the seas. And yes, it's way bigger and faster than anything you'd see in any river system. The world's largest waterfall is underwater. Forget everything you know about waterfalls because the tallest one isn't on land, it's underwater, lurking between Greenland and Iceland. This secret beast is called the Denmark Strait Cataract, where freezing, super-dense Arctic water plunges a staggering 3,500 meters, 11,500 feet, down into the ocean depths. To put that into perspective, it's 3 times taller than Angel Falls in Venezuela, the tallest waterfall on land. Invisible to the naked eye but massive in scale, this underwater waterfall shapes ocean currents and the climate itself. Who knew the ocean hid such a colossal drop? How many islands are hiding in the world's oceans? The oceans aren't just endless water, they're packed with islands. Across all the world's oceans, there are roughly 30,000 islands scattered like jewels on a blue canvas. The Pacific alone claims about 25,000 of those, but the Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Southern Oceans add thousands more. From tiny uninhabited specks to massive land masses like Greenland, these islands cover every size and shape imaginable. Together, they stretch over 140 million square miles, 362 million square kilometers of ocean, making Earth's watery world one giant island party you didn't even know was happening. Why is the Pacific called the Ring of Fire? Surrounding the vast Pacific Ocean is the infamous Ring of Fire, a fiery belt where roughly 75% of all the world's active volcanoes live, and where over 80% of the biggest earthquakes hit. This volcanic hotspot spans approximately 40,000 kilometers, 25,000 miles, encompassing countries such as Japan, Indonesia, the west coast of the Americas, and New Zealand. It's basically Earth's most intense geological party zone, fueled by shifting tectonic plates that constantly grind, collide, and pull apart beneath the ocean floor, making it the planet's most dangerous and dynamic region. World's largest underwater volcano. Imagine a volcano so huge it spreads out across an area nearly as big as Japan. Yeah, that's the Tamu Massif. This underwater giant sits deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, covering about 280,000 square kilometers, 108,000 square miles. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the size of Japan itself. Thankfully, this monster is extinct, meaning it's no longer spewing lava and shaking the ocean floor. Otherwise, it'd be a serious underwater threat you definitely wouldn't want to mess with. And the craziest part? It was only discovered in the last couple of decades, highlighting just how much of our planet's secrets remain hidden beneath the waves. Which ocean touches more countries than you'd expect? The Pacific Ocean isn't just huge, it's borderline globe-spanning. It actually touches 42 countries, and yes, that includes some you wouldn't immediately guess. Take the United Kingdom, for example. You wouldn't picture it as a Pacific neighbor, but it technically is, thanks to the remote Pitcairn Islands tucked away in the South Pacific. To put it in perspective, the Pacific covers about 63 million square miles, 163 million square kilometers, making it the largest ocean by far, and its massive coastline connects a mind-blowing variety of cultures and nations. Want more surprising geography? In fact, the Pacific Ocean is even wider than the Moon. But how can the Pacific Ocean be wider than the Moon? Believe it or not, the Pacific Ocean stretches over 19,000 kilometers, about 11,800 miles, at its widest point. To put that into perspective, that's roughly 5 times wider than the Moon's diameter, which is just about 3,474 kilometers, 2,159 miles. Imagine the vastness. This ocean alone could swallow the Moon's width 5 times over. It's a mind-boggling reminder of how immense our planet's waters really are compared to celestial bodies we see every night. The next in size is the Atlantic. What's the ocean that's just second to the giant? Meet the Atlantic Ocean, the world's second biggest body of water. It snakes across the planet in a giant twisting S shape and covers about 21% of Earth's surface. That's nearly 106 million square kilometers, or 41 million square miles, of salty blue stretching from the Arctic all the way down to Antarctica. It's not just big. It's a global highway for weather, trade, and some of the wildest sea life on Earth. Why is the Atlantic Ocean named after a Greek titan? Ever wonder why the vast Atlantic Ocean carries the name of a giant from Greek mythology? It's named after Atlas, the titan condemned to hold up the sky for eternity. Imagine that. While you're stuck holding a globe in a museum, Atlas is literally holding up the heavens. The ancient Greeks looked at this massive ocean and thought, this is so huge, it must belong to a titan. The Atlantic stretches about 3,700 miles, 6,000 kilometers, across at its widest point, a fitting domain for a mythic giant's namesake. So every time you hear Atlantic, picture Atlas, forever supporting the sky. And now, the ocean named after his legendary strength. The Bermuda Triangle. Is the Bermuda Triangle really a deadly mystery? Mysterious tales swirl around the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic. Spooky legends for decades. Ships vanishing without a trace. Planes disappearing into thin air in the Atlantic Ocean. But in reality, this so-called Devil's Triangle doesn't actually have more disappearances than any other busy stretch of ocean. The area, roughly 500,000 square miles, about 1.3 million square kilometers, is heavily traveled, which means accidents happen, but nothing supernatural or statistically unusual. So, all those ghost stories? Mostly just myths and sensationalism. The Mediterranean used to be dry. Believe it or not, the Mediterranean Sea wasn't always a sea. Around 5.3 million years ago, it was completely dry, a vast basin of cracked earth and desert-like conditions. This happened during what scientists call the Messinian salinity crisis, when the connection to the Atlantic Ocean closed off, drying up the entire sea. Then, in a mind-blowing geological event, the Atlantic smashed back through the narrow gateway we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. Picture a massive flood rushing in, refilling the basin in less than 2 years, turning that dry land into the Mediterranean Sea we know today. To give you an idea, the Mediterranean covers about 970,000 square miles, or 2.5 million square kilometers. Dry land one day, a sea the next. Europe and Africa are closer than you think. Did you know Europe and Africa are practically neighbors? Believe it or not, the shortest distance between Europe and Africa is just 14 kilometers, about 9 miles, across the Strait of Gibraltar. That's like a quick swim or a short ferry ride from Spain to Morocco. It's wild to think you can practically see another continent from your beach towel. This tiny gap separates two huge continents, with Europe to the north and Africa to the south, making the Strait of Gibraltar one of the most strategic and fascinating narrow waterways on Earth. The world's spiciest ocean. The Indian Ocean isn't just warm, it's scorching. It regularly simmers above 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, making it the hottest ocean on the planet. Why so steamy? It's surrounded by land on 3 sides, so heat gets trapped like a pressure cooker. Combine that with direct sunlight and slow circulation, and you've got an ocean that cooks up monsoons, powers deadly cyclones, and turns the tropics into a steam bath. It's Earth's 3rd largest ocean, but when it comes to heat, it's number 1. Long before GPS and Google Earth, ancient Sanskrit texts called the Indian Ocean Ratnakara, literally mine of gems. And it wasn't just poetic. This ocean was loaded with real treasure. Glittering pearls, shimmering sapphires, and spice cargo worth kingdoms. Stretching over 27 million square miles, 70 million square kilometers, the Indian Ocean became a magnet for ancient merchants from Africa, Arabia, and Asia. It wasn't just a body of water. It was a floating marketplace of wealth, culture, and global trade long before the word globalization even existed. The Southern Ocean is Earth's newest official ocean, but it's no warm welcome. Only recognized in 2000 by the International Hydrographic Organization, this icy giant wraps around Antarctica like a frozen belt. It's the 2nd smallest of the 5 oceans, but don't let that fool you. This place is brutal. Temperatures plunge below -2 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and the storms, relentless. Waves can reach over 20 meters, 66 feet high, with winds howling through the infamous roaring 40s and furious 50s. It's a swirling, freezing, storm-punching monster that even veteran explorers fear. How do these fish survive in ice-cold water without freezing solid? Meet nature's frost-defying miracle. Antarctic fish with antifreeze in their blood. While most creatures would turn into fish cycles in the Southern Ocean's sub-zero waters, sometimes dropping below -2 degrees Celsius, 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit. These fish glide along like it's no big deal. Their secret? Special antifreeze proteins that latch onto tiny ice crystals in their bodies and stop them from growing. It's like having biological ice blockers patrolling your bloodstream. These proteins evolved over millions of years, allowing species like the Antarctic toothfish to survive in waters that would kill most marine life. The Great Barrier Reef isn't just big, it's a living giant, so big that it can be seen from space. Wrapping around Australia's eastern coastline like a jeweled sea serpent, this natural wonder stretches over 1,600 miles, or 2,600 kilometers, making it the largest coral reef system on Earth. But here's the wild part. It's alive! Made up of over 2,900 individual reefs and around 900 islands, this sprawling marine metropolis is so massive it's visible from outer space. Think about that. Astronauts can look down and see a living ecosystem glowing beneath the waves. Coral reefs aren't just ocean decorations. They're the architects of life underwater. Around 25% of all marine species call them home, whether for food, shelter, breeding, or protection. But here's the real kicker. Nearly 90% of all marine life depends on coral reefs at some point in their life cycle. From tiny fish larvae to massive predators, it's like every creature checks into a reef hotel at least once in its life. These vibrant underwater cities may only cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, but they're the heartbeat of the sea. Lose them and the ocean's whole food chain unravels. Ever wonder who's really behind your next breath? Here's a mind blower. About 70% of the oxygen we breathe doesn't come from trees or forests. It's actually produced by tiny marine algae, those microscopic plants drifting just below the ocean's surface where sunlight hits. These little oxygen factories, called phytoplankton, work non-stop, pumping out oxygen through photosynthesis. So every fresh gulp of air you take likely carries a gift from these ocean floaters, keeping our planet alive and kicking. Without them, life on land would be gasping for air, literally. The ocean floor is basically history's ultimate treasure chest. It holds more ancient artifacts, sunken ships, and lost relics than every museum on land combined. Imagine diving down into the deep blue and stepping right into the world's most massive hidden archive of human history. From ancient pottery shards to shipwrecks thousands of years old, the seafloor guards stories we haven't even begun to fully uncover. It's like a time capsule stretching across nearly 140 million square miles, 362 million square kilometers of underwater mystery. Imagine $60 billion in treasure scattered across the ocean floors, gold, jewels, lost artifacts, all waiting to be found. Sounds like a Hollywood blockbuster, right? But this isn't fiction. It's real life, just underwater and out of reach. Most of this treasure lies buried in the deep ocean, thousands of feet down, sometimes over 3,000 meters, nearly 10,000 feet, where the pressure crushes submarines and the dark swallows all light. That's why, despite decades of exploration, most of it remains untouched, hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the next daring explorer with the tech to dive deep and claim history. Scientists estimate the ocean contains a staggering 18 million metric tons of gold. That's about 19.8 million US tons. Sounds like a treasure chest, right? The catch: this gold is spread out so thinly it's basically invisible. You'd have to filter through thousands of Olympic-sized swimming pools, each holding around 2.5 million liters, 660,000 gallons, just to scoop up a single gram. Mining this underwater stash isn't practical, but the idea that the ocean's water is literally shimmering with gold? That's wild. If we split the ocean's gold. If we pulled it all out, every single person on Earth could walk away with about 4 kilograms, around 9 pounds of pure gold. Sounds like a jackpot, right? But here's the kicker. If that much gold suddenly hit the market, its price would crash through the floor. Gold's value depends on scarcity. Flooding the world with it would make it common, wiping out its legendary status as a rare treasure. So, the ocean's gold might be tempting, but it's really just a shiny mirage when it comes to actual wealth. Imagine the ocean floor as the ultimate shipwreck graveyard, holding up to 3 million lost vessels. That's right, 3 million! From ancient trading galleys that once sailed bustling trade routes to modern ships swallowed by violent storms or sunk in fierce battles. These watery tombs stretch across the globe, telling stories of exploration, disaster, and mystery. Each wreck is a time capsule frozen in place beneath thousands of feet of water, some resting under 12,000 feet, 3,650 meters, of ocean, waiting for explorers to uncover their secrets. It's like the largest, deepest museum you'll never get to walk through, unless you're a deep-sea adventurer or a high-tech robot. How much trash are we really dumping into our oceans? Every year, humans toss a staggering 6 billion kilograms, yes, billion, of trash into the oceans. That's roughly 13.2 billion pounds. To put it in perspective, that's 3 times the total weight of all the fish caught worldwide each year. Most of this garbage is plastic, and it's a ticking time bomb for marine life. Sea creatures get tangled, swallow bits they mistake for food, and sadly, that plastic often circles back to us, ending up on our plates through seafood. Ocean pollution isn't just an environmental issue, it's a health crisis waiting to explode. Where do 10,000 shipping containers disappear every year? Believe it or not, about 10,000 shipping containers plunge into the ocean every single year. That's like losing a small city's worth of cargo, about 20 million pounds, 9 million kilograms, of goods sinking beneath the waves. Some of these containers carry hazardous chemicals, turning once pristine marine ecosystems into toxic zones that can take decades to recover. It's not just lost cargo, it's a ticking environmental time bomb lurking beneath the surface. Hidden hazards. What's lurking beneath the waves? Scientists are still unraveling the fallout. These toxic time bombs don't just vanish. They threaten marine life and could potentially harm humans through seafood contamination or leaking chemicals. The ocean's dark secret is far from settled, and its full impact remains a ticking clock beneath the waves. Ready for this? Why is the ocean turning sour right before our eyes? Ocean water today is a staggering 30% more acidic than it was just a few centuries ago. And the culprit is carbon dioxide pollution. When CO2 from the atmosphere dissolves into seawater, it forms carbonic acid, lowering the pH and messing with marine chemistry. This acid overload weakens corals and shellfish, making it harder for them to build their skeletons and shells. That's not just bad news for those creatures, it threatens entire marine food webs that depend on them. If ocean acidity keeps rising, the ripple effects could disrupt fisheries, biodiversity, and the ocean's health as a whole. This isn't some distant future problem, it's happening now and fast. Polluted coastal waters aren't just ugly, they hit us where it hurts. The wallet. Every year, health problems caused by dirty seas rack up a staggering bill of over $13 billion worldwide. That's right, more than $13 billion lost thanks to pollution poisoning our beaches and seafood. This isn't just about environmental damage. This isn't just any mess. It's the notorious Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a massive floating landfill made mostly of plastic debris. What's worse? Over time, sunlight breaks these plastics into microscopic pieces called microplastics. Fish and seabirds mistake them for food, swallowing these tiny poison specks that then travel up the food chain. This patch covers an area estimated at twice the size of Texas, about 580,000 square miles, 1.5 million square kilometers. It's not just trash out there, it's a toxic stew we're all part of. What if I told you the ocean is secretly powering our world? Yep, nearly a third of the oil we rely on today is pumped straight from under the sea. Some of the biggest offshore oil fields are sprawled across the Gulf of Mexico, the North Sea between Britain and Norway, and the Arabian Gulf. These underwater treasure troves fuel everything from your car to the gadgets in your pocket. It's wild to think that beneath those waves, massive rigs drill miles into the seabed to tap into energy that keeps modern life running. Oceans keep global business afloat. Over 90% of all international trade travels by ship, cruising across thousands of kilometers of open ocean. These massive cargo routes are like hidden superhighways beneath the waves, silently linking economies and countries around the world. Without them, the global marketplace would grind to a halt. No gadgets, no clothes, no fuel. Shipping isn't just transportation, it's the lifeblood of modern business, moving billions of tons of goods every year. Harnessing ocean power. Could the ocean power our entire planet? What is the ocean energy potential? Imagine this. If we captured just 0.1% of the ocean's immense kinetic energy, the endless motion of waves and currents, it would produce 5 times the world's current energy demand. That's right, 5 times. The ocean's power is colossal, constantly moving, and totally renewable. Tapping into even a tiny slice could revolutionize how we fuel our planet, slashing reliance on fossil fuels and supercharging clean energy solutions. The challenge? Developing technology tough enough to thrive in the harsh, salty ocean environment. But if we crack that code, the seas could become our biggest power plant. Antarctica hides a current that controls the planet. Deep beneath Antarctica's icy shell flows the Antarctic bottom water, a chillingly slow current that's way more powerful than it sounds. This freezing river of water stores heat, locks away carbon, and carries vital nutrients across the globe. It's basically Earth's climate thermostat, keeping weather patterns steady and life in balance. But here's the kicker. If climate change messes with this frozen giant, we could trigger wild, catastrophic weather shifts. Think the day after tomorrow, but real and way less Hollywood. This current controls the planet's pulse, and we'd better pay attention. This current flows near the ocean floor, extending thousands of miles, chilling the water close to freezing, around minus 0.5 degrees Celsius or 31 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1992, a shipping container full of 28,800 rubber duckies and plastic sea creatures got swept overboard during a violent storm in the Pacific Ocean. What sounds like a toddler's dream became an accidental science experiment. These friendly floaties didn't just sink or vanish. They started turning up on beaches thousands of miles away. For decades, they drifted with ocean currents, washing up in Alaska, Hawaii, South America, Australia, and even the icy edges of the Arctic. Some traveled over 17,000 miles, 27,000 kilometers, across the globe. Oceanographers seized the chance to track them, using their paths to map the movement of ocean gyres, wind patterns, and plastic pollution routes. These duckies help confirm that the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans are deeply interconnected and reveal just how long and far floating debris can persist in the seas. So yeah, a bathtub toy flotilla accidentally became one of the world's weirdest and most useful ocean experiments. How far can a message in a bottle really travel? Meet Harold Hackett, a modern-day ocean messenger from Prince Edward Island, Canada. Since the 1990s, he's thrown more than 8,000 bottles into the Atlantic, each with a handwritten note inside. No GPS. No tracking. Just waves and luck. And here's the wild part. He's received over 4,000 replies, many from complete strangers across the globe. We're talking letters washing up on beaches in Europe, Africa, and even the Caribbean, thousands of miles or kilometers from where they started. Some took months, others years. One even traveled over 3,000 miles, 4,800 kilometers, before finding its reader. Forget email. This is old-school global networking powered by the tides. Swallowed ocean water lately? You might want to sit down. A single milliliter of seawater, that's one drop, can contain up to 10 million viruses. Globally, we're talking 10 to the 30th power viruses in the sea. That's a 1 followed by 30 zeros. Most aren't harmful to humans, but still, next time you get splashed in the face, just remember, it's not just salt. Ocean mysteries, the bloop. Oceans hide many unsolved mysteries. In 1997, a low-frequency, extremely loud sound, nicknamed the bloop, was detected in the South Pacific, sparking speculation about sea monsters. Scientists now believe it was caused by ice quakes, massive cracking noises from ice. But the ocean will always inspire wonder. In 1958, the US military dropped a hydrogen bomb into the Atlantic. Yup. A plane collision forced them to ditch it, and it's never been recovered. Officials say the plutonium core was removed, but there's still uranium somewhere down there. Just chilling. Hopefully. Where is the most isolated spot on Earth? Meet Point Nemo, the ultimate definition of middle of nowhere. This spot in the ocean is over 2,600 kilometers, about 1,615 miles, from the nearest land. That means if you somehow found yourself there, you'd be surrounded by nothing but endless water in every direction. No islands, no ships, no humans, just pure vast isolation. It's so remote that even rescue missions would take forever. If loneliness had an address, this would be it. Oceans cover about 71% of Earth's surface. So if some alien spaceship dropped in without a map, there's a 60% chance they'd splash down far from any land, completely surrounded by water. From space, Earth would look like a giant blue ocean ball, a true water world. No wonder alien visitors might think our planet is mostly just endless seas, hiding all the continents beneath the waves. Half of America is in the ocean. Yup, about half of the United States isn't even on land. Thanks to vast coastlines and sprawling ocean territories, nearly 50% of U.S. jurisdiction lies beneath the waves. This includes massive maritime zones like the Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ, which stretches 200 nautical miles, about 230 miles or 370 kilometers, off the coast. These waters aren't just salty real estate. They're packed with fisheries, oil reserves, and critical ecosystems. So when people say sea to shining sea, they're only telling half the story. The other half? Literally underwater. The internet runs under the sea. Believe it or not, the internet's backbone is underwater. Vast networks of cables known as submarine communications cables crisscross the ocean floor, carrying internet and phone signals between continents. But how does the internet travel under the ocean without getting crushed? These cables stretch for thousands of miles, some longer than 40,000 kilometers, about 25,000 miles, and are specially engineered to survive crushing deep-sea pressure, underwater landslides, and even curious sea creatures like sharks that sometimes mistake them for snacks. Without these underwater highways, your video calls, emails, and streaming would crawl to a halt. It's the secret superhighway of the digital age. Hidden deep beneath the waves. Most of the planet's biggest cities aren't tucked away inland. They're hugging the coast. In fact, about 3 out of 4 megacities, those with over 10 million people, are located near the ocean. Think Tokyo, Mumbai, New York, Shanghai. Why? Trade, travel, fishing, shipping. Oceans have always been the lifeline of civilization, and it's not slowing down. By 2025, experts predict that up to 75% of the world's population will be living within 37 miles, 60 kilometers, of a coast. That's billions of people packed near rising sea levels, vulnerable to storms and flooding. Oceans aren't just scenery, they're the front lines of the future. Ever wonder why coastal cities like Seattle feel like they have weather on easy mode? Despite sitting way up north, Seattle stays surprisingly mild in winter, warmer than cities much farther south. The secret? The ocean acts like a giant heat bank. It soaks up warmth during summer, then slowly releases it through the chilly months, smoothing out the extremes. Inland towns at the same latitude don't get this ocean-powered thermostat, so they shiver through colder winters and bake in hotter summers. That's the ocean influence shaping city weather like a pro. One day just for the ocean. June 8th isn't just another day, it's World Oceans Day, a global celebration of the planet's beating blue heart. Covering over 70% of Earth's surface, the ocean is our life support system. It produces more than half of the oxygen we breathe and absorbs about 30% of the carbon dioxide we pump into the atmosphere. That's right, it's doing damage control every second. But here's the catch. We're not treating it right. Plastic pollution, overfishing, and climate change are hammering these waters. Every minute, the equivalent of a garbage truck full of plastic ends up in the ocean. That's around 11 million metric tons, 12 million US tons, per year. World Oceans Day is our yearly wake-up call. A reminder to protect coral reefs, defend marine life, and clean up our act. Because without the ocean, there is no Earth as we know it. The power of tsunamis. Tsunamis aren't just big waves, they're oceanic shock waves born from massive undersea earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or landslides. In the deep ocean, they can race along at jetliner speeds, up to 500 miles per hour, 800 kilometers per hour. That's faster than a speeding bullet train. And yet, out at sea, they might rise just a few feet, barely noticeable to ships passing by. But don't be fooled. When that silent force hits the shallows near land, it rears up into a monstrous wall of water, sometimes over 100 feet, 30 meters high. In minutes, it can erase entire coastlines, flatten cities, and change maps. It's not just water, it's a moving mountain of energy. Gigantic internal waves. Forget tsunamis. Deep beneath the surface, the ocean brews monsters, internal waves, that make surface waves look like ripples in a puddle. These giants can tower over 240 meters, that's nearly 790 feet, taller than a 70-story building, yet you'll never see them coming. Why? Because they move silently below the surface, where water layers of different densities collide. It's like a secret battle between warm, light water and colder, heavier layers. This invisible clash sends massive waves rolling through the deep at speeds of up to 3 miles per hour, about 5 kilometers per hour. They're slow, silent, and colossal, and they shape ocean currents, influence marine life, and even challenge submarines and underwater drones. Ocean's invisible hills and valleys. The ocean may look flat, but it's hiding some seriously weird topography. Thanks to gravity playing tug-of-war with Earth's mass, the ocean surface actually rises and falls without any waves involved. Over deep undersea canyons, gravity weakens slightly, and the water above dips by as much as 20 meters, about 66 feet. These invisible valleys can stretch across 160 kilometers, 100 miles, or more. It's like the ocean has hills and ditches, but made of water. We can't see them with the naked eye, but satellite altimeters can. And that's how scientists map the seafloor without ever diving in. Gravity is quietly sculpting the sea from below. Deep in the dark ocean depths swims a tiny powerhouse called cyclothone, a genus of brittle-mouthed fish so insanely numerous that they outnumber every other vertebrate on the planet combined. Imagine this. Their total population hits a mind-blowing quadrillion. That's 1 trillion individuals. That's a 1 with 15 zeros behind it. Don't worry, though. These fish are barely bigger than your fingertip, usually less than 10 centimeters, 4 inches long. They might be tiny, but their sheer numbers make them the ultimate champions of vertebrate life. You'll never see them in your local aquarium, but they rule the deep oceans like no other. Old maps of unexplored ocean regions were often decorated with pictures of sea monsters. Back when vast stretches of ocean were blank spots on the map, cartographers didn't just leave them empty. They filled them with monsters, giant squids, serpents, dragons. Not because they knew beasts lurked there, but because they honestly didn't know what was out there. And when knowledge runs dry, imagination sets sail. Some maps even warned, "Here be dragons." These artistic guesses weren't random. They reflected real fear of the unknown. With no GPS and no Google Earth, the ocean might as well have been a liquid abyss, over 36,000 feet, 11,000 meters deep, and full of fangs. Finland rises from the sea. Yep, every year Finland is rising out of the sea like a slow-motion Atlantis. Thanks to the last ice age, the land was once squashed under glaciers up to 3 kilometers, 1.9 miles, thick. Now that the ice is gone, the crust is bouncing back in a process called post-glacial rebound. And it's still happening. Finland gains about 7 square kilometers, 2.7 square miles, of land every single year. Coastlines are changing, harbors need constant updating, and what was once seabed can turn into a backyard in just a few decades. Earth's memory runs deep, and Finland's still healing. The hottest deep water on Earth. Deep in the ocean, near hydrothermal vents, water blasts out at a scorching 400 degrees Celsius. That's 752 degrees Fahrenheit. You'd think it'd just boil away, right? Nope. The insane pressure miles beneath the surface keeps it liquid, turning these vents into underwater hot springs hotter than most places on Earth. These vents don't just cook the water, they carve out wild alien landscapes full of strange creatures thriving in this extreme heat. It's like another planet down there, right under our noses. And there you have it. That's a wrap on 100 mind-blowing facts about our ocean. That proves the sea is anything but boring. Each one a drop in the bucket compared to everything we still don't know about the Big Blue. The ocean isn't just a scenic backdrop for beach pics or dramatic movie rescues. It's home to most of Earth's life, a climate superhero, a tangled web of mysteries, and, frankly, a reminder to treat our planet with more care. Whether you've discovered your new favorite sea creature or just appreciate the ocean a little more, I hope this deep dive has left you curious, amazed, and maybe even a tiny bit salty. Until next time, remember, we've only scratched the surface. The rest, still waiting out there in the deep. Don't forget to hit subscribe. For more truth bombs that schools forgot to tell you, drop a comment on which fact blew your mind the most. And remember, we're grateful for your thoughts and corrections. They make the list more robust and remarkable. So, if you have a correction or suggestion, drop it in the comments below.